Hey guys, welcome back. For the banner Ballista Totem build, I have finally get to a place where I think it's comfortable. We are now officially just putting down totem for mapping and occasionally putting down banners, and I have also incorporated some new tech with the scepters into the build, and I think it's very comfy for T15 mapping in general, and it's a lot tankier than the previous setups. I think ultimately Sceptre is gonna be the way for us to scale later into the game because of the Malice aura, and we can go for crits. Crit Ballista is probably gonna be pretty insane and should be enough for us to kill Pinnacle boss. With the additional spirits coming from the Sceptre, we are able to run Blasphemy aura with Temporal Chain, Elemental Weakness, Frost Bomb with Elemental Exposure, which is stronger than the oil grenades, and it's completely autonomous setups where you just put down your totems, banners, and everything should die in your maps. This playstyle is a lot closer to the PoE 1 totem playstyle where you just put down your totem and move around, and this is exactly what we aim for. Keep in mind that I'm still using a day 2 crossbow, so damage might not look that impressive, but again, it's quite easy to craft a good crossbow this league, so I'll get into it soon enough. So yeah, put down totem, banners, drop the frost bomb, and the totem should do the work. Once again, this is a lot closer to the PoE 1 playstyle, and also we have mana drain in case we do run out of mana, so it's very good sustainable on long fights. First of all, I want to talk about the scepters, and ultimately, I think Sceptre is gonna be the best weapon of choice for Ballista banner build in general. This is because in 0.3 there were a new essence that was added into the game. Perfect Essence of Command and a new aura skill have increased magnitude for scepters, and one of the way for scaling banners into the endgame is with aura magnitude. Also, scepters will allow you to run more supportive aura. And in this case, I'm currently running Elemental Weakness for more damage and Temporal Chain for a little bit of defensive, but you can easily run Enfeeble as well for even more tankiness. Essentially, because we are a Tactician, so any form of spirit you gain is effectively double because we have the 50% less reservation cost. Ultimately, it allows you to have the flexibility to run completely different setups. For example, I am running a mana drain one to help me solve my mana issues at the moment. So yeah, in my opinion, Sceptre is gonna be our best way to scale into the endgame. The next topic I want to talk about is the defensive layer in this build. So previously, I was running a 0 resistance setups, and I gotta say it was pretty tanky until you start running into damage over time. Now, given that the armor is usually bad against damage over time anyway, but especially us because Veil of the Night with 0 resistance, and when you actually run into damage over time of a certain elemental type, you actually get hits for a lot more. And especially in 0.3 where we do have a lot of Abyss content and they have a bunch of damage over time, it is actually pretty bad. So you have to play especially careful, and it was not that comfy. Now in the new setup, given that I have experimented enough with armor, and I actually think armor is quite good, to the point where I think armor and evasion is actually comparable to the evasion and ES. Given that we are on Tacticians and Mercenary area where we do have a lot of evasion and armor nodes, it is just more efficient to go with armor and evasions, and ultimately that is my choice and reason why I go for that. Let's talk about our skills, and you can kind of see here I have completely filled out all the skill slots, and if I have an extra slot from the Unset Ring, I will put in the Dread Banner. But yeah, this is my current skill setups, and you can see here I have Mana Drain and Fulmination. They are coming from the one and the Sceptre that I'm currently using. The reason why Mana Drain is so good is because we can fully recover our mana, so like one cast recover 400 mana, and you can see here each of our totem casts costs 100 mana, which means that if we were to summon like 4 totems, we just need to cast it once to fully recover our mana, so we would have no problem sustaining our mana during mapping. The other aura that I'm running is Fulminations. It says here, while active the first time any skill hits a shock enemy in your presence, that skill also hit other shocks enemy, and because I have changed to run Valaco Vice, our skills can actually shock now, so it helps a little bit with the AoE clear. The aura that I'm running, so Blasphemy aura, because we add the Sceptre, we have enough to run the aura on weapon set 1, and you can see here I have Temporal Chain and Elemental Weakness for more damage. So the curse inflicts negative 60% elemental resistance, which is really good. And also Temporal Chain is really good. And I'm running that with Ritualistic Curse and Magnified Area for more area of effects, and Heightened Curse to have better curse. Just keep in mind that these curse, you want to have it at high levels. So for example, a level 17 curse do not apply to enemy above level 78. So you do want to have enough intelligence to run at least a level 18 curse to be able to apply to endgame content. Same thing for Frostbomb. If you want to inflict the exposure, the Frostbomb need to be at least level 18. And again, I'm using Frostbomb here because it applies better elemental exposure than the oil grenade. Each time that it pulls, it's gonna apply a stronger elemental exposures. And I'm running that with potent exposures, magnifying area, and prolonged durations. Make sure that you use it with weapon set 1. So whenever you cast your Ballista Totems and then you cast the Frostbomb, it automatically swaps to weapon set 1 where you can drop both of the banners, and it just feels a lot smoother while playing. And then Mortal Cannons, I'm running on weapon set 2. And for this particular choice of grenades, I'm running explosive grenades. A lot of people have suggested cluster grenades, but maybe because I don't have enough damage right now, explosive grenades just feel a lot better for clear, especially now that we can shocks and we can spread some of the AoE with fulmination. It doesn't feel that bad. So explosive grenades with multi-shots, elemental armament, payloads, and short fuse. If you do have to drop one link, I would say drop elemental armament. Now, short fuse is mandatory in the setups because we are no longer trigger the explosive with our explosive shots. So yeah, we need to run short fuse, and because we have enough damage now that we can kind of counteract the 30% less damage from short fuse, it's a lot comfy to run the setups right now, which is why I kind of swap. And then we have Wind Dancer, which is something we only use on the weapon set 2. Make sure that you uncheck that, but then again, you can only use it on weapon set 2 because it requires a martial weapon. You have Blind, Clarity to recover mana, and Maim. Doesn't really matter what you run on here actually. And then we have a Companion. Now, the Companions, before it gave his aura, but that thing was fixed. Right now, I'm still running this Companion because it shocks. It have extra physical damage aura. I might consider to run his aura minions companion if I decide that I want more speed. So for your companion, just run meat shields, last gaps, elemental armies, just so that the companion can survive. And then we have overwhelming presence, essentially to help with enemies around you get pinned easier. And you can kind of see that usually when we put down our totems, we would swap into our weapon set 1 setup anyway, so overwhelming presence is something we run on weapon set 1 to help CC the enemy around us. Mirage Archer on weapon set 2 only. You can't really run this on weapon set 1 because it requires a crossbow. So I'm running cluster grenades with Nova projectiles, elemental armament, and payload. The main purpose of the Mirage Archer is you drop it in the middle of the pack and it's gonna shoot out a bunch of cluster grenades to help with the AoE, but that's pretty much it. And yeah. So the next setup is we have War Banners and the Defiance Banner on weapon set 1. Now, on the War Banners, I have Refraction 3 right here. And then we have Magnifying Area, Prolonged Durations, and Mobility. And then Defiance Banner, I have Prolonged Durations, Magnifying Area, Refraction 2. Now, keep in mind that we have a Refraction 3 and Refraction 2, and they are different, so you make sure you don't mess it up, right? You put down your banners, it's gonna apply the Refraction 3 to the enemies, and if you put down Defiance Banner, it's gonna apply Reflective Blading, which apply your armor to the elemental hit takens and just make you tankier. And finally, we have Directional Passions. This one just reduces the glory cost of the banner, so put it on the banners that you use the most. For me personally, it's Defiance Banner, so I put it on, and you can kind of see here, I get back the Defiance Banner a lot faster than the War Banner. So yeah, that's my current setups, and if I do have another slot from the Unset Ring, like I said before, I would run Dread Banner on the same setup, right? Magnifying area and prolonged durations is pretty much all you need. Next up, let's talk about our items, and I'll try to go quickly, but the first thing here is that we have a Life Brick. Very budget and very good items. It gives +3 to level of all spell skills and mana drain. Now, ours Curse and Frostbomb also benefits from the +3, so it's really good. And overall, just very good budget items. And then we have the Scepters, which give Fulminations. Ultimately, in the end games, I think Malice is going to be the premium choice with the crits and everything. I'm not even sure if this allies in present work for totems. It's really buggy somehow. So for this particular Scepter, you really want to have at least Spirits, Intelligence, and Aura skill have 20% increased magnitude coming from the Perfect Essence craft. All you need to do is to buy a Scepters with Spirits, Intelligence, and pretty much anything else. And then you roll that with the Perfect Essence and hope you hit a high level of increased magnitude, and you should be good to go. And then we have, for our armors, essentially we are running Armour and Evasions. And you want to have maximum life, elemental resistance, and if you have rarity on gear, it's a plus because ideally you always want to have rarities. I'm currently running with 79% rarities on my gears, and eventually I want to have more so that I can have better drops. And then I'm running Violacle Vice, essentially giving me shocks into the build for more damage because I ended up dropping Trinity. And then body armor, same thing, just maximum life, elemental resistance, and the ring. I think the main thing here is you want to have high roll of physical damage to attack. Rarity is always good. Intelligence is good because this build is very attribute hungry. And then elemental resistance. Now, you do want to have Dodre Damning. This is so you can apply an additional curse. Now, if you don't have this particular ring, you just need to drop the curse. So for me, you know, if I don't want to run Temporal Chain, it's pretty expensive, I can drop this ring and also run another ring, which is what I did previously when I don't have a 5 or 6 link. And for the belt, essentially you just want to have high roll of maximum life, so T1 life with elemental resistance and strength. Strength, once again, attributes, very important for the build. And then for the boots, 30% move speed, maximum life, and rarity is good. And if you are lacking elemental resistance, you can get it on the slot as well. But yeah, my crossbow, once again, I'm gonna recraft this crossbow. It's really not that strong. Essentially, you want to have +1 to ballista, and then +6 to all attack, attack speed, high physical. But most importantly is the high physical damage roll and plus ballista, because all we play is ballista. Imagine we have 4 ballista, and that is like 33% more damage. And I think I talked about it before, but for the life flask, you want to have an instant life flask with, gain charge per seconds. This way you can kind of sustain in fight, especially when you run into those damage over time modifiers, because we are actually armor based. So whenever you get hit with damage over time or get chunk, you want to have an instant source of recovery to help with that. And for the mana flask, it doesn't really matter because we do have mana drain right now, so yeah. And finally, we have the amulet. I'm still using Idol of Alden. Now, I'm allocating Bestial Skin on here, but ultimately, when I have enough currencies, I'm gonna allocate for Ancestral Reach. I think it's really strong, especially now that we have dropped Urgent Totems from our Mortal Cannon setups. So this node is gonna help a lot. And finally, let's talk about the Ascendancy and the passive skill trees. Now, I have played with multiple versions of this, and I have tried everything. And ultimately, with the setups, I think I'm confident enough to drop completely from Polished Out Gear and say Light Use Cover. I am now currently using Pin because Pin is really comfy. It just kind of pin the enemies, and if we do enough damage, then I'm not going to fight back. And also, Solid Plan and Banner. If you are running this from League Start, I recommend you to take Pin first, and then take Solid Plan, and then finally take Banners. Now, for the passive skill trees, we do have to diverge a bit from the previous setups, but essentially, what you need to know is that we are using weapon set 1 for our banners right here. So all the banners are on weapon set 1. That way, whenever we drop banners, we benefit from all of this. And then on our weapon set 2 is where we have our Ballista Totems. And we are taking all these immobilization build-up nodes to help our Ballista Totem pin. And then we are focusing on grenades node as well. Now, most of our grenade nodes also change. Essentially, you want the reduced grenade detonation time, so the grenade's gonna explode faster, making the build a lot covier. So we take these 25% here, 15% here, and then we are no longer taking additional projectiles because it actually increased grenade detonation time. And that is pretty much everything that has changed. If the passive skill trees on Mobalytics is different from this tree, make sure that you follow the Mobalytics guide because it's probably the latest one. And then finally, I have a From Nothing jewels that allocate passive in Blood Magics. This is because Prism Guard is actually quite insane and it was buffed since the trailer. And then we also have a very efficient nodes surrounding this with the cold damage taken, which we are lacking before. Also, we can take Ancestral Alacrity, which increase our totem placement speed and also attack and cast speed, which is also pretty nice because, again, we have dropped Urgent Totem. Beside that, you can put point in Bestial Rage, would have 25% increased attack damage. And also, you know, we have other nodes that is strong as well, like the fire and lightning damage from Armour. Overall, it's just a very strong cluster, which have a lot of options for you to choose and very efficient for us. But yeah, this is gonna be the passive skill trees. Everything will be updated on Mobalytics already in the written guides. I'll try to be very detailed with the setup so you can kind of follow because I know a lot of things has changed. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. You can kind of see the gameplay here. Essentially, you just need to drop totem and go. Whenever you encounter a rare pack of monster, you can drop totems and then change to Frost Bomb, drop banners, and then the totem should be able to kill everything. You don't have to do explosive shot anymore. So the gameplay loop is a lot simpler. You just drop your totems, drop your banners, drop your Frost Bomb, and just kind of run around until the rare and everything just die. Also, this build is tankier, so again, just a very comfy T15 mapping experience. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.